Hi there. Welcome to my free presentation, How to Master Modern Buttercream Cakes Today, Not in 5 Years. Now, before we get started, I would love to know where you're joining from. So in the comment, can you just say a quick hello and let me know where you're joining from? If you're watching this presentation, chances are you have been trying to teach yourself how to make buttercream cakes, and for quite some time. You would have found out that buttercream cake making is very time consuming. Okay, there are a lot of moving parts. The making itself is tricky enough when there's a teacher telling you what to do. So imagine trying to be the teacher and the student at the same time. Actually, we don't have to imagine because that's what you've been trying to do. You've been teaching yourself. Okay, so it's a tough gig, I know. Or maybe you've been at it for a while and you've had some small successes just from sheer determination, but you're not achieving the big results that you want, okay? And you're not achieving them quick enough. Results like these. First of all, let's just acknowledge that it's super frustrating, okay? You want to create stunning masterpieces, but you can't just seem to bring your ideas to life. You have so many inspirations and ideas in your heads, but your skill set doesn't allow you to bring them to life. You waste a lot of time combing the internet for cake knowledge, and you waste a lot of time learning through trial and error. You also waste a lot of energy second guessing everything. How much buttercream do I need? How many layers should I make? Is this going to hold up if I put another tier on top? Is the chocolate going to melt? Should I put it in the fridge? Oh my God, so many questions and no one to answer them. Or shall I say, so many different answers. Every man and his dog has their own cake tips and tricks on the internet these days. I'm talking YouTube tutorials, cake blogs, TikTok, Instagram reels. Okay, so how do you know who's right? It's so confusing. I get it. I know. Okay, so I just want to say that I see you. Trying to teach yourself how to make a decent looking buttercream cake is hard. I did the same thing 10 years ago, and this was in the days where I only had YouTube tutorials and cake blogs. I didn't have TikTok, so Instagram in the mix to confuse the F out of me. So I wasted a lot of years making many mistakes trying to teach myself. Mistakes that I could have easily avoided if someone just told me. Don't get me wrong, I learned plenty from those mistakes, but teaching myself was a long, lonely journey. So if you're trying to figure it out alone, let me save you a few years of your time first, okay? So let's get straight into what you came here for. The 3 biggest mistakes self-taught cake makers make, which you should avoid. Quickly, please take notes. Please take screenshots of the slides. You've already turned up for yourself today by watching this presentation, so I want you to get the most out of this, okay? So focus and take notes, please. Let's get to it. Mistake number 1, using a Frankenstein system. Okay, so wait, you didn't know that cake making was a system? Well, that's mistake number 1A then. Cake making is a succession of tasks that have to be done in order. Okay, so together those tasks make up part of a cake making system that in the end gives you the finished product. So the decorated cake. You can't decorate the cake if you haven't baked the cake. So you get the gist. Cake making is a system. Okay, so back to the Frankenstein system. We all know the story of Frankenstein, right? So Frankenstein is actually the inventor who's a scientist, and he made an artificial man, the monster, from strange chemicals and old body parts of corpses. So the monster is, this culmination of random bits. So that's why I call this the Frankenstein system. Okay, so signs that you're using a Frankenstein system. You have a collection of standalone recipes and techniques that you have obtained over a period of time from various sources like blogs and books and YouTube and whatnot. Okay. Now, while some of these recipes and techniques do work, they function differently and independently. So, for example, the vanilla cake uses butter, but the chocolate cake uses oil, and the red velvet cake uses buttermilk. Okay. The cake covering techniques you got from a ganache expert, and the decorations are for fondant cakes. Because the recipes and the techniques were obtained from various different sources, nothing really gels or work great together. Everything has its own unique process. And because nothing works together, you exert a huge amount of time and effort in trying to fill in the gaps and make the system work. Why you ended up with a Frankenstein system in the first place? It could be because you're self-taught. You've had some initial success when you started out. So then this motivates the belief that you can figure it all out on your own. It could be that you believe you don't have the time or the money to invest in proper training. So you try to learn as much as you can on your own, and maybe one day you'll be ready to make an investment. Or it could be that you're willing to invest, but you haven't found anyone who can give you a complete, cohesive system to use. Okay? I know free tutorials and cake courses are plenty on the internet, but it's so hard to come across reliable information, even when you're willing to pay for it. So if you are using a Frankenstein system, I know that it's not your fault. Okay? So raise your hand if 1, you're using a Frankenstein system, and 2, just give me a high five because I know it's not your fault and it's okay. But the cost of using a Frankenstein system is 1, forcing a system of broken parts to work together is making your life difficult for no reason. So you're exerting way more energy than necessary. Waste of energy. That's 1. The second cost is energy, okay? It's exhausting. Trying to figure out everything on your own requires a lot of mistakes and years of experience. It took me 5 years, and that's a long journey of frustration. Not to mention you're wasting time, okay? You're wasting energy and you're wasting money. Let's talk about money for a second. I can say that you're wasting time and energy, and you might be like, yeah, okay, so what? Most people aren't really scared about wasting time and energy as they are about wasting money, okay? Time and energy is something you already have, right? So when you think you can't afford to pay for something like a cake course, for example, well, you have time and energy. So you think, I'll trade my time and energy to learn it myself instead of paying for it. To you, you're saving money doing it that way. I get it, but here's the reality. You go to work to make money, right? And what you do at work, you trade your time and energy to do your job. Therefore, your time and energy equals money. And if you're wasting time and energy, you're actually throwing away the money that you could be making with that time and energy. I'm not even talking about the actual money you spend on the equipment and the ingredients that are wasted on failed attempts while you try to teach yourself. So when I say that you're wasting time and energy and money, you should be really concerned. If you don't want to lose money, then don't do time wasting stuff. Save time and you make more money. Mistake number 2, focusing on decorating techniques before building a solid foundation. The modern cake decorating world is super exciting at the moment. A simple scroll on Instagram or Pinterest or TikTok will expose you to hundreds of amazing cake designs, many of them remarkably executed. Okay, so looking at these amazing cakes, it is very easy to be inspired or find yourself wishing you could produce the same. I get it. But then suddenly your sole focus becomes achieving that particular aesthetic before moving on to the next trend. Vintage piping, buttercream flowers, so many trends right now. Okay, so decorating is the fun part. I know, I get it. Decorating is what separates the cake from being food to being art. So who doesn't love decorating? But focusing on learning advanced decorating techniques before you learn to build a solid foundation is a recipe for long-term disaster. It's like building a house. Painting the walls, installing nice curtains, even tiling or building a kitchen, it's easy enough to learn to DIY, do it yourself. However, these things are only decorative. They don't really matter if the structural foundation of the house isn't right. You can't build a great building on a weak foundation, okay? So if the foundation isn't solid, the house will fall down. Or if it hasn't fallen yet, you'll be spending most of your time fixing and patching up or rebuilding different parts just to try and keep it from falling down. So the cost of this mistake is the same as mistake number 1. Wasted efforts, exhaustion from always having to fix things, and wasted time, energy, and money, therefore lost opportunities as well. So it doesn't matter how good your cake looks if the road you took to get there was long-winded and stressful, okay? Foundational cake knowledge and skills may take some time to achieve, but you only need to build it once. So take the necessary time to form a strong foundation from which a great building can be built. Trust me, once you possess the confidence from having your basics down pat, then you will progress through advanced decorating techniques a lot quicker. And then you won't have to come back and fix bits and bobs, okay? So your trajectory is straightforward. You're not going to go 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Now, mistake number 3, relying on passion to get you through. In my 10 years experience as a modern buttercream cake artist and teacher, I noticed that all cake makers, regardless of skill levels, have these in common. 1, they get into cake making because of how it makes them feel, right? Myself included. Cake makers are a very different breed of people whose love language is food. They get so much joy out of creating something beautiful that people love to eat. They express love through edible art. Because the feels got them into the game, they often rely on the feels to keep them in the game. Okay? So hands up if you've been through this before. So ideations, okay? At the start, you have an idea. Awesome. I can't wait to start. Oh my God, so excited. And then it comes to production. So you start making the cake and you're still excited and, oh, this is so fun and exciting. And then you get to the middle of making the cakes and things start to go wrong and there's so many steps. And then you start thinking, what the F did I do? Why did I do this to myself? Oh my God, kill me again. I don't want to continue, all sorts of stuff. But then you persevere, you push through, and then you get to the end, you actually have a cake that you've made and you go, oh my God, I did that. It's so cool, all sorts of stuff, okay? So then the next time someone asks you for a cake, all you remember is that shot of adrenaline or endorphins at the end, and then you go, sure, I'll make you a cake, and then off you go again, okay? I know you're laughing because it's true. So where's the mistake in this? The mistake happens in this phase, the final product. When you're high on endorphins from having reached the end of a challenging task, you forget things, okay? You forget what a stressful process it was to get there. You forget how many days it took you to get there, and frankly, you don't really care how long it took. You're tired, sure, but right there, you're feeling so good about everything that it's all you remember, okay? So this is what I call the cycle of passion. You know that you're wasting too much time. You know that you're performing way too many steps and you're working too hard just to make a cake, but you tell yourself it's all okay because you have passion. Having passion is great, but passion isn't limitless, okay? You don't have an endless amount of passion. If you don't have the proper mindset, the efficient recipes and systems in place, it will not be sustainable. Over time, poor time management and lack of structure or long-winded processes will end up killing your passion and your creativity and any chance for growth, okay? You'll get to a point where you're so exhausted that you'll end up resenting the art that you love to begin with. Okay, so let's recap. The 3 biggest mistakes you should avoid are: number 1, using a Frankenstein system, aka a buttercream cake making system full of random, standalone recipes and processes that don't work together. Trying to master decorating techniques before nailing your foundational cake making skills, and relying on passion to get you through the cake making process instead of having efficient systems and structure in place. Okay? You might not even realize that you were making one or all of these mistakes until now, but that's okay. It's not a big deal. What is a big deal is you not realizing how much time you've wasted by making these mistakes, or how much creativity and growth you've sacrificed in the process. Because of these mistakes, buttercream can seem daunting and hard. I can assure you it's not. Cake making might feel stressful, but it really doesn't have to be. Or you might be feeling like you don't have the creativity or the talent required to succeed at this. Okay, I'm here to tell you that that is not true. Remember these results photos I showed you earlier? These are actually not my work, they're my students. With 10 years experience as a leading buttercream cake designer and teacher, I can tell you with 1,000% confidence that you can master modern buttercream cakes today, not in 5 years. You can make buttercream your best friend instead of dread it. And creativity isn't something that you're born with. It's something that you can nurture. But all of this can only be possible for you today if you start valuing your time. You need time to nurture creativity and growth. Okay, so start putting time back in your day by implementing just one cohesive buttercream cake making system that was designed to help you do just that. Save time. Okay, so this is where my 4-step framework comes in. Okay, I know that the struggle with trying to teach yourself how to make a decent buttercream cake is not knowing how to manage the many different moving parts. How to bake a cake correctly, what type of cakes are even used in the first place, making buttercream, smooth buttercream, sharp edges, stacking, tiers, storage, delivery, blah, 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 it goes on. So it can get overwhelming fast. Okay, so with my approach, the cake making process is broken down into 4 very simple steps. This makes it so much more manageable. And when it's manageable, it's achievable. Okay? So in this second part of the presentation, we're going to go into the 4-step framework for creating modern buttercream cakes with confidence. And these are the very simple 4 steps. Step 1, organize. Step 2, standardize. 3, create. And then 4, decorate. This is the 4-step framework I teach thousands of students in my course, Buttercream Cake Mastery. Okay, students like Kat, who's gone from this to the aftershock. Okay, so I just want to read out what Kat says quickly. I was wasting so much time, both in research and in the application. I would scour the internet for hours at a time looking for foolproof recipes, and I would watch countless YouTube videos on techniques, tips, and tricks. Then, as if I hadn't already spent enough time doing that, I would spend many more frustrating hours wrestling with failed buttercream, trying to salvage a cake that refused to cooperate with the aesthetics that I so desperately desired to achieve. Buttercream Cake Mastery was a complete game changer for me. It helped me to master my efficiency, maximize my time's worth, and most importantly, equip me with the skills and subsequent confidence which was necessary to thrive while delivering some of my best work. Okay, so I have thousands of students in Buttercream Cake Mastery that share the same sentiment. It works. So let's get into it. Step 1, organize. Everyone gets so excited about the cake making part. So most often, what do? They jump straight to it and they don't have any planning or preparations. Because cake making's fun, right? I get it. But jumping the guns will hinder your progress and your growth in the long run, okay? Before you can even touch a tool or do anything, make buttercream, whatever, you have to get yourself organized first. So the first step in my 4-step framework is organize. The word itself is quite self-explanatory, but here's the definition. According to the Oxford Dictionary, the word organize means 1, arrange systematically, or 2, make arrangements or preparations for an event or activity. So in this step, We want to do both. We want to arrange things systematically and we want to make preparations for activities. So in the organized step, we have things such as mindset. Mindset is extremely important. That's something that you have to get right from the start before you start anything else. Okay. And then we have things like toolbox, organizing your kitchen, your time management, your food safety. So here's what I teach our students in Buttercream Cake Mastery. Mindset. Mindset is so often overlooked by cake makers and artists alike, okay? Because creative makers tend to focus on the physical aspect of the creation process. And they don't really have any clear idea about what they want long term. They don't have any tangible strategy to get to where they want long term. Having the right mindset is so important. I cannot stress this enough. It ensures that you can set yourself up for success and maintain it. So at DTC, our governing mindset is move away from the old way of learning, which is to just do what you're told to do, and into a new way of learning, which is to understand why. Okay, so don't just merely perform the steps because people tell you that that's in the method. You have to understand why things are the way they are. And 2, value your time. Okay, protect your emotional and mental and physical creative well-being by knowing how to cake smarter, not harder. If you're clear about these objectives from the get-go, you will make decisions to support them and then in turn support your growth. Now, in the toolbox section inside Buttercream Cake Mastery, we look at understanding exactly what each tool is supposed to do, understanding whether a tool is essential or a luxury to be able to make investment choices correctly. Okay, so I see so many reels on Instagram, for example. I see so many reels on Instagram of people having like a lineup of 5 KitchenAids going on all at once, and it's a proud moment for people. And if you've done this before, I'm not digging at you, but this is an example of not knowing your tools. Okay, you should have one KitchenAid or whatever stand mixer you have, but if you make cakes for a living, for example, and you find that stand mixer doesn't quite handle the volume that you're doing, then you should be getting multiple bowls to begin with. Once you surpass the volume of the multiple bowls, then you should look at investing in a bigger stand mixer, not the same size. So anyway, I'm not going to rant on, but that's what understanding your tools mean, okay? And then there's also physically organizing your toolkit in your kitchen so that they're easily accessible and all that stuff. And also for businesses, knowing your suppliers, your costs, your ordering system and all of that. So this is all part of the organizing your toolbox. And then we've got time management. Managing your time and schedules effectively is a skill, okay? And it's a very important skill. Time management includes things such as planning ahead, having an effective weekly schedule where specific tasks are only done on specific days. That's very important. And knowing how long certain processes take so that you're able to plan for them appropriately, okay? This is very important too for when you want to do quotations. And talk about schedule. If you stay until the end of this presentation, you will also get my efficient sample weekly schedule for free. This schedule shows you what I do on each given day of the week to ensure the most efficient cake making experience possible. Okay, and it's free if you stay till the end of this presentation. Okay, so food safety is also part of the organized step. Okay, and it's also very important. It's pretty self-explanatory here. Get educated and get certified. Okay, no questions. Even if you're just making cakes for friends and family, this is part of building that solid foundation right from the start. So to recap, the aim of step 1, organize, is to make preparations for the upcoming cake making activities. In fact, making preparations is very much the theme of the whole Buttercream Cake Mastery system. Every step in the process should prepare and set the stage for the next step. And so in the end, everything just comes together seamlessly. And that's why I bring it back to cake making as a cohesive system. Step number 2, standardize. The word standardize means to bring into conformity with a standard, especially in order to assure consistency and regularity. Now, in this step, the focus is on consistency. Consistency in not only the product quality, but also in the expectations for yourself and your clients, in performance and in processes. Okay, so consistency in everything. This is where we eliminate the Frankenstein system. This is where we cut out all the guesswork. We want to be able to expect the same reliable result every time by using the same ingredients from the same supplier and performing the same procedure. Okay? Consistency saves time. It reduces stress, increases enjoyment, and promotes confidence. So standardization can occur at any point in the cake making process. Okay, so the more standardized systems you have in place, the better. However, if you can't get to them all, these are the 2 most important areas that I want you to look at standardizing. Okay, the first being baking. Some of the things you should consider when attempting to standardize your baking system include all standard tiers contain the same number of layers and are of the same or similar heights. All cake tins used are of the same height, material, and brand. So this ensures that they all bake evenly. They bake at the same time, at the same temperature. All multi-tier sizing options have been considered based on proportions. Okay, so we don't make a 10 and 12 inches 2-tier cake because this is way too stumpy and it doesn't look nice. So if someone asks me for a 10 and a 12 inches 2-tier cake, I'm going to offer them a 3-tier cake that is going to give them similar amount of serving numbers, but it's going to look much better than a stumpy 2-tier cake. Okay, so this is something you need to consider when you standardize your offerings. All cake recipes have been standardized to use the same or similar base ingredients, methods, and oven settings. Again, this ensures consistency. It also ensures that you save a lot of time because all the recipes are the same or similar. Batter weight, baking time, scaling ratio for each tin size, all figured out and then recorded and organized into a table. So by the time you bake, you know exactly what you're looking at. The second area that I want you to look at standardizing is the buttercream making. Okay, so here are some of the things you should consider when attempting to standardize your buttercream system. Buttercream recipe can be used in all seasons. When I first started out, I had a recipe that I liked, but it was too soft for summer. So then I modified it so that it was more sturdy in summer, and then I'd use a different recipe or a different version of it for winter. And then every time the weather changes or the season changes, then I'd be, modifying the buttercream recipe again. And that's just, not good. So buttercream recipe needs to be standardized so that it can be used for all seasons. Okay. Buttercream recipe can be scaled for large quantities. So some recipe is fine if you make it in a small mixer, but as soon as you scale it to a big 20-liter mixer, and it doesn't work. So that's not consistent, not good. Buttercream recipe can be turned into many different flavors. Okay. One recipe, and then you just add the flavoring ingredient. That ensures, again, consistency and efficiency as well. And then you need to record temperature for different stages of consistency for the buttercream. So when you fill a cake, the consistency of the buttercream required to fill a cake, it's very different to the consistency required for covering and for piping. So you need to record the temperature of these buttercream at these stages in order to standardize it. Also, scaling ratios for different stand mixes. So, if you're making different size batches, what are the scaling ratios for those different stand mixes? And you also need buttercream weight for cake fillings, for covering, for cupcakes. And if you know the amount for each size, and every time you go into the kitchen, you know exactly how much buttercream you need to make. Okay, so creating standardizations, I know, takes a lot of work and take a lot of time, which is why it is rarely attempted. But this is the difference between the winners and the people who keep chasing their tails in circles, right? You can learn the bits and bobs of buttercream cake making yourself, things like making the buttercream, covering a cake, but without a standardized system, you'll be forever second guessing. And that's not how you build confidence. Okay, so take the time to go through the list I just outlined and one thing at a time. Just pick one and then work out your standardizations. And once that's done, then move on to the next. Just pick one at a time. One small standardization you achieve is one less guesswork and stress that you'd have to endure for the rest of your time. Okay, so I know the thought of it may be daunting. You may not know where to even start, so then you don't start at all. In my course, Buttercream Cake Mastery, I've already done all of these for you. All the standardizations are done. Okay, so there's no guesswork involved. All you have to do is implement the standardizations in the system I give you and cut your time in the kitchen in half. Okay, so you can definitely implement the standardizations yourself one at a time, or you can cut to the chase and look at Buttercream Cake Mastery, but more on that later. Moving on to step 3, which is create. Now, this is where you make the cake, okay? Before this step, you can't. This includes cake cutting, filling, assembling, and building structure, smooth sides and sharp edges, different modern buttercream finishes such as concrete buttercream, watercolor buttercream, achieving different shapes such as round or square or, the arch or whatever, and then stacking multiple tiers. Okay, so there are multiple ways in which any of these tasks can be done. Everyone does them a little bit differently. But the aim here is to utilize techniques that are efficient. So take sharp edges, for example. A quick search on YouTube will give you plenty of hits from which you can learn how to achieve sharp edges, right? But most of these takes forever to do. For example, they use the lid method, okay? And the result is most often not even worth it because it takes so long. So when you make one cake, you may not mind that this part of the process takes you half an hour, but it also means that if you have to make 10 cakes, it will take you 5 bloody hours alone just to achieve sharp edges. And that's crazy. The sharp edge technique that we use inside Buttercream Cake Mastery takes 5 minutes. Okay, that's less than an hour for 10 cakes. It gives you razor sharp results every single time. You can learn any part of the creation process from watching free tutorials online, but you should always aim to learn how to create a structurally sound, aesthetically flawless cake in the quickest amount of time and with the least number of steps. That's the key. Efficiency is about making the best possible use of your time. Okay? It increases productivity and it saves you money. It helps you nurture creativity and it grows confidence. Now, the last step, this is a step that everyone loves, decorate. Okay? This is the very last step. And this is a step that everybody jumps to from the beginning, but this is the last step in the cake making process. This is where most of the fun is. So let's just look at the definition. The word decorate means to make something look more attractive by adding extra items or images to it. And that's precisely what we do in this final step. Add extra items to the cake we created to make it look more attractive. With so many decoration options to choose from, sometimes it could be quite overwhelming to make a choice. So the choice should ultimately be based on the aesthetics you're after, but when decorating a modern buttercream cake, you want to keep these things in mind as well. Okay? Number 1, limitations. What are the limitations to using a certain type of decorations? So for example, chocolate decorations may need to be tempered, isomalt decorations cannot be stored in the fridge, fresh flowers wilt, and chocolate drips crack if stored in the fridge for a prolonged period of time. Number 2, storage and lifespan. Can the decorations be stored in the fridge as buttercream cakes needs to be stored in the fridge, right? How long will they last if stored in the fridge or out at room temperature? Can they be made ahead of time? 3, effectiveness. Okay, so how effective is a piece of decoration at producing impact? If you can achieve great impact by using just one style of decorations, do you even need to use another? Okay, so my thing is always efficiency, maximize time, maintain quality. So you find that my aesthetics is quite minimalist because of this. If I can achieve the same impact by just using one chocolate sail or a couple, I'm not going to go and waste my time making flowers and other chocolate decorations. Okay, so this is something that you need to keep in mind as well. Effectiveness of the decorations. And also, lastly, the position and the support of your decorations. So where and how to place the decorations so that they are not only aesthetically pleasing, but also secure, okay? There's no point in making a cake that looks great, take a photo of it, and then you can't transport it. It breaks the minute you put it in the box. So consider position and support as well when you're making cake decorations. Okay, so let's recap. That's the 4-step framework you can use to master modern buttercream cakes today, not in 5 years. Okay, step 1, organize. 2, standardize. 3, create. And then 4, decorate. I've given you the framework. It's that simple, really. I've used it. Over 4,000 of my students have used it to master buttercream cakes. And you can use it too to dramatically cut down your time in the kitchen. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in. But you're not supposed to get off this presentation and do all those at once, okay? That's not the point. Just start from the first step. Forget the creation, forget decorating, forget that you can't get sharp edges at the moment. Forget it. Just go to the first step, which is to organize, okay? Pick one thing out of that, one thing out of everything that I've listed in the step organize, and then work on that first, okay? Just take it one step at a time. If you follow the framework I just gave you, you've got the blueprint to master modern buttercream cakes and you will never be confused again. But I know that doing it all by yourself still takes time, okay? The good news is you don't have to do it by yourself. I've done all the hard work for you already and it's all inside Buttercream Cake Mastery. Remember, because of time-wasting recipes and processes, buttercream can seem daunting and hard, but I've already told you it is not. Okay? Cake making might feel stressful, but it really doesn't have to be. And you might be feeling like you don't have the creativity or the talent to succeed at this. And I want to repeat this 1,000 times. That's not true. Okay? You can make buttercream your best friend instead of dread it. If you're sick of wasting time combing the internet for cake knowledge, not knowing how to make sense of all the free information available online, and lacking confidence you desire to execute cake ideas in your head, then here's the plan, okay? If you just want someone to hand you one complete buttercream cake making system that is proven to work by over 4,000 students from all over the world, here's the plan. Step number 1, enroll in Buttercream Cake Mastery. Step number 2, implement my 4-step framework with all the standardizations and the recipes and the methods already figured out for you. And then number 3, create stunning buttercream cakes with confidence today. Okay? But okay, before that, who am I? Okay, so why should you take it from me? Who's this chick? I'm a leading modern buttercream cake artist and instructor with 10 years of experience in the modern buttercream cake space. Okay, so you might not know my face, but you would have seen my work and the influence of my work. I'm the original creator of the concrete cake, the watercolor cakes, the bowl sails, generally the minimalist cake designs you see recreated everywhere today. That's my influence. My name is Tao Armstrong and my passion is to help 1 million self-taught buttercream cake makers cake smarter, not harder, so they can add time back in their day for creativity and growth. So far, I've had the privilege of helping over 10,000 students from all over the world do just that. Learning how to create stunning buttercream cakes on your own is totally doable. Sure, you can guess and make mistakes and eventually learn from them like I did, but learning how to make a cake by trial and error takes years. Who's got time and money and patience for that in today's busy world, okay? And I know that you've wasted enough time and money and efforts doing that. So Let's not do that anymore. Avoid cake fails, okay? So air bubbles, leaning, bulging, melting, condensation, all of that are a thing of the past. Do more with less time. Time-saving recipes and systems that cut your time in the kitchen in half. And create with confidence. Say hello to stunning buttercream cake designs you never thought possible, okay? All of that will allow you to master modern buttercream cakes today, not in 5 years. And you can do that with my 3-step plan. So again, step 1, enroll in buttercream cake mastery. Step 2, implement my 4-step framework with the standardizations and efficient recipes and methods already done for you. And step 3, create stunning buttercream cakes with confidence. Okay, so I have already over 4,000 students inside Buttercream Cake Mastery, and I know that this system works, okay? Every cake maker would benefit so much if they had this system from the start. So I know the value of the course, but I also know that I want to make it accessible to as many cake makers as possible, which is why today, as a reward for watching this presentation and turning up for yourself, I'm making this course $297 instead of the $699 price tag. Okay, so use code DTC297 at checkout. Just click on that link right now and put that code in at checkout, and you'll be able to get lifetime access to Buttercream Cake Mastery for just $297. But that offer is only available for the next 15 minutes. So in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to go through some questions. And at the end of that session, if you're still unsure about the benefits of Buttercream Cake Mastery, just send us an email and ask away, okay? Because I don't want you to miss out. I don't also want you to purchase just because the clock is running out if you're not sure. So whatever you decide to do, just take action, whether it's enrolling the course or sending us a question, okay? Enough of that. Okay, so question number 1, what do I get inside Buttercream Cake Mastery? Buttercream Cake Mastery is a self-paced online course with lifetime, real-time support. Okay, I'll get into that a little bit later, but let's just go through the curriculum and the modules inside the actual course. So as I've shown you in this presentation today, my framework involves 4 steps. Okay, so inside Buttercream Cake Mastery is these 4 steps, but I've done all the work for you. So you don't have to spend time working out all your ratios and your numbers, and all of that is already done for you. So as you can see here, we've got step 1, organize. So you're going to be learning about mindset, toolbox, time management, and food safety overview. And then step 2, you're going to go through the standardized phase. Okay, so in the standardized phase, I will show you how to calculate the ratios, but I have also done those calculations for you. So not only will you get the calculations, you also get to understand how to make those calculations. So if you ever want to do it yourself, you can too, but everything's already laid out for you in the standardizations phase, okay? So in this phase, you're going to be learning about baking. You're going to be learning about our DTC baking systems and why that is so efficient. You're going to be learning about buttercream foundation. Now, this is something that you cannot get on YouTube or on Instagram. The buttercream foundation goes into the consistency and the temperature, okay? Because that's what makes the difference. Knowing your buttercream and how it behaves at different temperatures is how you can manipulate it to work in your favor. So that's what you're going to be learning, okay? And then in this phase, you're going to get all the recipes as well. So the bonuses are our DTC vanilla cake recipes, which can also be used to make cupcakes and bake donuts, and also our extremely delicious and efficient DTC buttercream recipe and all the quantity and the baking charts and all the charts that you need already in this phase. Now in phase 3 or step 3, you've got create. Now this is what everyone's looking for when they go on YouTube and stuff. How to bake a cake, how to layer, how to fill, all of that stuff. That's in here, but it's in my really efficient way of doing things. So you've got cake cutting, filling, assembling and building structure, smooth sides and sharp edges in 5 minutes, shapes and tiers. So you'll be learning round cakes without using the acrylic disc. You'll be learning square cakes as well as tiered cakes. And then, of course, you'll be learning my signature concrete buttercream finish and also our signature watercolor finishes. Okay, so all the modern buttercream finishes. And then to the fun part, the decorate. Again, you'll be learning how to do these things, but very efficiently. So we've got contemporary chocolate decorations, and that includes sails, bowl sails, sheet sails, metallic, marble shapes, and so much more. You'll be learning how to work with fresh flowers as decorations, so how to wash and prep them and store them correctly, edible gold leaf, paint splashes, and also a bonus easy ice melt decorations course. Okay, so that was a lot to go through, but this course is the only thing that you'll ever need to succeed at buttercream cakes from start to finish. So let me go through the bonuses one more time. So you'll get all the recipes, charts, ratios, all the done for you things to make your buttercream cake life hassle free. Okay, you've got our DTC vanilla cake recipe suites, which includes cupcakes, so vanilla cake, cupcakes, baked donuts, all the done for you baking charts. You've got our DTC buttercream recipe. You've got our easy ice melt decorations course, and also you get access to our exclusive student Facebook group on Facebook. Okay, this is priceless. You can't put a price on this because our students come from all over the world and they are very interactive in these courses. You can go in there and ask questions. You can go in there and post your photos and ask for opinion. It's priceless, these groups. What's not on the slide is also access to over 12 extra lessons as part of my previous live coaching calls for this course. Okay, so these lessons are on things like food coloring, buttercream cracking, melting, condensation, common baking issues, and things like that. Everything is in there. So if you know that you want this course, click on that link right now and take it for just $297. Now that's Australian dollars, okay? So if your currency is USD, British pounds, euros, or even Singaporean dollars, you're going to get this course at an even better value than that because let's be honest, the Aussie dollars is not that good right now. So click that link if you're ready. Next question, how long does the course take? So I mentioned that this is a self-paced course, which means that you can start and stop when it suits you, but you have lifetime access to the course materials, okay? So that allows for you to go at your own pace and in your own time without worrying about running out of time, okay? Other courses give you limited access in terms of like 12 months or 24 months. I don't believe in that. My aim here is to help you succeed, and the only way for you to succeed is to go at your own pace. So you can start, you can stop, you can start again, whatever suits you, but just know that you have lifetime access to the course materials and also lifetime access to me. Yep, lifetime. And I'm serious about that. So at any point in your learning journey, you will not be alone. You have a question, you ask either in the course platform or you go into the Facebook groups or you email me and you will get an answer and guidance from me. Okay, so that's my promise to you. Just because you're doing an online course doesn't mean that you're on your own. Next question, I'd love to take the course, but it's too expensive. Okay, I've mentioned this before. I wanted as many hands on this course as possible because I know that it will change your cake making lives for the better. So I've made it at a price point that is really accessible. The value that you get from this course, you'll pay it back in a month. Okay, so let me break it down for you. If money is tight right now and you can't commit, that's totally fine. There's no judgment. But if you actually are serious about valuing your time, then consider this, okay? On average, a small 6-inch round cake, a custom buttercream cake, starts from $200 plus tax. So this cake on the left here on the slide, that's a 6-inch round 4-layer cake that I made in 2018, and I charged $295 for this plus tax. The slides here says 3 birthday cakes, but that's based on the $699 regular price, okay? But this means that if you only make 1 birthday cake per year for your kids or your partner, your friends or family, you would make back your investment on Buttercream Cake Mastery, just 1 cake a year. Again, if you only make 1, not 3, 1 custom cake per month for your clients, you'll make back your investment on Buttercream Cake Mastery in just 1 month. Okay, so whether you're a hobbyist or you make cakes for a living, you will get a return on your investment for Buttercream Cake Mastery really, really fast. And with lifetime access to the course content, anything after you break even is money in your pocket. Let me break down further what I mean by money in your pocket. Okay, you won't have to pay for someone else to make your family and friends celebration cakes ever again. So you don't have to go and pay $295 for a cake every year on your kid's birthday. You'll be saving that amount of money, and that's money in your pocket. Okay, you can charge clients more for your beautiful, flawless buttercream cakes that your competition can't make, and you can make more of those in less time, meaning more money in your pocket. Okay. So I just want to introduce you to some of our students and their results after taking Buttercream Cake Mastery. Okay, so this is Janine. Let me read quickly what Janine has to say. Okay, the tips and detailed information provide you with a strong foundation in which you can adapt and tweak to your liking. My work looks so much more refined and elevated. It gives me the confidence to try new things and experiment because I have a strong foundation. I'm so glad I found these courses early on. It would be such a shame to do this for years and then realize there could have been a better way. Okay, so that's exactly the sentiment that most students in Buttercream Cake Mastery have. They wish they'd done it earlier. So here's Janine's before and after. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, and then we have someone else. This is Samantha from Sweet Samantha Cake Designs, and that's her before and after. There's Ebony, that's her before and after. So I have over 4,000 students inside Buttercream Cake Masteries that are producing results like this. Mind you, these after photos are actually old as well. If you check out these students' work now, you'll be blown away because they've taken their buttercream cake games to another 10 levels. And that's because they've already got a really efficient cake making system in place that saves them time. So they could actually use that time to work on their creativity and their growth and their cake designs. Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, Tao, I want in. But I've always been a bad student at school. I'm really not good at that learning thing. And then I have to learn on my own. I totally get it. You might feel apprehensive about taking a course, let alone an online course, because of past experiences and insecurities about education. Okay, it's understandable and it's a very human thing. We naturally fear failures, but worse, we fear the judgment that comes with that failure, whether it's from ourselves or from other people. So if you're apprehensive about taking Buttercream Cake Mastery because you don't have confidence in your ability to learn a new skill, I want you to see this. I have hundreds of notes like this from our students about how streamlined and easy our course materials are to consume. Okay, I myself have never been a traditional learner, so I've gone to extreme lengths to make sure that this course actually is delivered in a way that gives you results. Okay, I'm not a fan of long-winded videos and, bulky text just for the sake of it. This course is extremely streamlined so that you only get what matters, what will give you result. All right, so those are the questions that I have preempted, and now I'm going to start that 15 minutes timer and I'm going to go through the rest of the questions that have been sent in. If I don't get through to the questions that you've posted, be assured that our team will reach out to you via email to answer your questions, okay? So please ask away. If you have a questions, please ask away. Are the lessons live? Okay. The lessons are not live, okay? The lessons are pre-recorded. so that they are edited in a way that does not waste your time watching them. So they're very short to the point videos with on-screen text that explains the process. And then you also get written materials that are very detailed. So think of them as textbooks, but very digestible readings. Okay. So between the videos and the written materials, you have everything you need to go at it in your own pace. Okay. So the lessons are not live, but what is live is the human interaction part. So at any point while you're doing the course, you can ask questions inside the course itself, or you can go into the student Facebook group, or you can email me. Okay, we have a very particular way for you to ask questions so that I can give you the most accurate answer, and that is to supply videos or pictures of what you're struggling with. Okay, go in there and ask questions, and that's the live part. That's the real-time human part. You get an answer from me, and you will also get answers from students who have either succeeded at what you're struggling with or their take on what you could do to rectify whatever problems you have. Okay, so next question. I don't have time to start a course right now. Can I start it at any time? Yes. Short answer is yes, you can start it at any time. Remember, you get lifetime access to the course. So to take advantage of this offer, you can click on that link and buy the course now, and you can start it next month if that's when you have time. Okay. And then you can go through the course, and if something happened live, you have to pause, then you can pause and then come back to it 2 months, 2 weeks, whatever. So this is completely self-paced, as I said. So it is completely entirely up to your schedule when you want to start and when you want to stop. I just want the recipes. Can I just buy them separately? This is a very, very common question, and I don't just get it from students that watch this presentation. I get it from people messaging me on Instagram all the time. And this is the mindset that I'm trying to change with this course, okay? People think that recipes are the answer. Recipes is a very small part of how you make a cake. It's so much more than that. Recipes is just a small part in the big game. So if you're struggling with sharp edges, for example, right now, okay, you're going to go to me and you're going to go, I'm struggling with sharp edges. How do I master sharp edges? And then I'm going to go, okay, this is how you master sharp edges. You go away and you fix the problem. And then, I need a really good vanilla cake. Where can I get the recipe for that? See, this is how you start accumulating random stuff. And this is how you end up with a Frankenstein system. Okay, so it's not about the recipe. It's about the system, which is why, going back to the question, I don't sell the recipes separately. I sell the system that gives you long-term success. And it's the one-stop shop system. Okay, you don't have to go and buy random bits and bobs from anyone else. So short answer, you can't just buy the recipes, because it's not the recipes that's going to give you success. Even though my recipes are really delicious and efficient, it's not the recipe, it's the system. Okay, so next question. Who's Buttercream Cake Mastery for? Buttercream Cake Mastery is for hobbyists who just wants to make cake for pleasure. Okay, they make cakes for friends, for their kids, for their family. I have a lot of hobbyists in Buttercream Cake Mastery, okay? And Buttercream Cake Mastery is also for home-based cake makers who have a side hustle. A small portion of students inside Buttercream Cake Mastery are also shop owners, okay? And they enroll into Buttercream Cake Mastery for the system. Again, some people go and spend a lot of money opening a shop, but they don't have efficient systems in place. So hobbyists, home bakers, or cake business owners, they all have one thing in common, and that is lack of systems. So they waste time and they waste money and they waste energy. Okay? So if you want to master modern buttercream cakes and save time, make more money, and not waste so much effort on trying to fix bits and bobs, and Buttercream Cake Mastery is for you. Okay, Next question. There are so many buttercream cake courses out there now. What makes yours different? All right. So if you follow me on Instagram, then you'll know what my philosophy is, okay? But obviously, if you're new to this, let me explain. My philosophy is different to every other buttercream cake courses out there because I want to help students succeed long term. And my goal is to help cake makers cake smarter, not harder, okay? Other cake courses are usually created by cake makers who wants to make an income on the side. So they do a course and they film what they do. And while that is helpful, they don't spend enough time going into the steps. No one has a 4-step framework. Okay. So if you take other cake decorating courses, you'll be shown how to get sharp edges, how to make this, how to make that. But no one has a 4-step framework that ensures consistency, efficiency, and success long term. Okay, so that's what makes my courses different. Also, what most courses do is that they give you 24 months or 12 months access to I don't know why they do this, but they do. So you get access for a limited time. And then you want access again, you have to pay again. That's not what we're about. Okay, so that's where the lifetime access comes in. What I'm most proud of, though, that makes us different is the community and the support that you get. Okay, a lot of online courses, if not all of them, give you access to the course and then that's it, you're on your own. With our courses, any DTC courses, not just Buttercream Cake Mastery, not only do you get lifetime access to the course, but you also get lifetime to me and our student community. Okay, I know a lot of you are pretty skeptical about taking an online course because you want someone to help you. You don't want to just be left in the lurch, and you won't. So if you ask questions, I will answer you. If you ask questions, the student community will answer you. You have students from all over the world. So students from the UK will go into the Buttercream Cake Mastery student course and go, okay, what brand of thickened cream do you guys use? I'm from the UK. And then someone else will go in and go, oh, I've tried this brand and I've had success. I've tried this brand, don't use it. So that's the key to your success. You get the framework and you get the support. Okay? Next question. You guys are giving me really good questions. I love it. Do you run in-person workshops? I prefer to have you there in person to guide me. Okay, great. I used to run in-person workshops before COVID. I used to fly all over the world. I've had workshops in London, in Auckland, Indonesia, Sydney. So I used to do a lot of physical in-person workshops, okay? And these are great. In-person workshops are great for energy, for picking up tips, but these are one-day workshops, okay? So for me, one-day workshops aren't enough. You can't learn any skill in one day. So while these cost like $400 or $500 for the day, and the cost is justified because they have to hire space, they have to give you cake, all of that. You're going to spend $400 or $500 on one day, and you're going to go home and you're going to be left on your own again. Okay, it's just not effective long term. The only time where in-person learning is more effective than my online Buttercream Cake Mastery course is when you enroll in a 12-month or a 24-month physical schedule at a school where you're required to turn up 5 days a week to keep learning, to keep practicing. That's the only time physical learning is better than this course, Buttercream Cake Mastery. But if you're comparing a one-day in-person workshop with this course, you're not going to get the same result if you just go to a course for one day, okay? Again, this will lead you back into that Frankenstein system where you just pick up bits and bobs and you go into an in-person workshop, you go home. Half of the things that they talk about in that workshop, you've forgotten already, and then who do you ask? So that's why I've focused my entire strategy on helping cake makers succeed, and it's proven by using this Buttercream Cake Mastery course system. Okay, so short answer is I probably will run in-person workshops again in future with a very different format, because I've realized that in-person workshops are really good for building energy and relationships and motivation and all of that, but it's not the best at trying to learn buttercream cake and succeed long term. So that's something that I want you to keep in mind, okay? Okay, next question. I've never done an online course before. Will this work for me? So that goes back to my previous two answers to, the previous two questions. I know that there are a lot of apprehension in terms of taking an online course, especially if you've never done one before. Also, especially if you've done too many and they didn't work for you, okay? And I'm very well aware of that, which is why I've structured Buttercream Cake Mastery the way I've done it, so that it's easy for you to do it in your own time, at your own pace, but also you get access to me and the DTC student community to get support. If you have a question, if you come up against something that you can't figure out, you have me and you have the students to support you. Okay? Now, if you have any other questions, please send them through. I think I've done all of them, so I don't have any more questions. We have 2 minutes left. So 2 minutes left for you to click on that link and take advantage of the offer before we finish up, okay? Now, this is one last thing that I wanted to add that I forgot. So if you commit to a 12-month program at Le Cordon Bleu, Australia, and that's a patisserie school, to do Diploma 3 in patisserie, right? That's a 12-month physical schedule commitment. The cost of that course is $34,000. Oh my God, I nearly fell over. Okay, so that is a patisserie course though. They only touch on Buttercream Cake Mastery probably like a week in their program. But the cost of that is $34,000. The cost of this is $297 once. And then you get access to all this knowledge, all this done for you systems for life. Okay, so I just wanted to give you that comparison. At the same time, I understand. Anyway, 1 minute left. Any other questions? Okay, do you have students from the Philippines? Yes, actually, I do. I have a lot of students from Asia. Oh, yeah. Thanks for asking that question. So this is something that I get asked a lot. Does your buttercream withstand the heat? Because I'm from, a really hot climate. I have students from Singapore, from India, from Dubai, Malaysia, pretty much any country that you can think of, but a lot of them are in Asia as well. And I know that the climate in Asia is really, really hot, okay? And buttercream is an issue, but we do get a lot of students from these regions. There are a particular way of working with buttercream that you have to accept, and that is buttercream melts. So, in order to work with buttercream in hot climate, you need a cool environment. Okay, so I do touch on this inside Buttercream Cake Mastery. To give you context, in Australia, in summer, it could go past 40 degrees Celsius, okay? It gets really hot in Australia in summer. And I use the same buttercream recipe. I use the same system. It's just a little bit more work ensuring that the environment that the buttercream cake is in is cool enough so that it doesn't melt completely. Okay, so there are ways around it and I will show you inside Buttercream Cake Mastery. But if you're expecting a buttercream recipe to withstand the heat, then I suggest you give up now, because even I can't withstand the heat when it's hot. So how can you expect your food to withstand the heat? Okay, so there are things that you can do to mitigate the heat, but if you expect your buttercream cakes to withstand the heat altogether, then maybe this is probably not the right medium for you. Buttercream melts. Okay, Now, the time has stopped. That means I must stop talking as well. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end, okay? I want you to take all of this away and either implement it step by step or take Buttercream Cake Mastery. But whatever you do, please do take action. Don't continue to waste time and energy on recipes and systems that don't yield results long term. Okay? Again, thank you so much for turning up for yourself and also for watching this presentation. Best of luck. Bye for now.